Hello everybody, I'm Matt with Contact Training Group. Let's talk about the CLOS, the Cognitive Load and Observation System. It was originally designed to introduce critical decision-making skills into firearms training, details that may not be represented within typical target training. So when we're doing individual team movements or any kind of clearing, either dry or live fire or simunition, targets, they are what they are. What they present is how you have to interpret them. Well, with the CLOS, you don't have to do that anymore. You can add a different layer of critical decision making that makes things a little more clear. I'm going to show you a series of targets, and it comes up in discussion as to whether or not things would be a valid shoot versus a non-valid shoot. So our first target here, as we turn and talk, shows you what this looks like. This is a gentleman pointing a firearm. Most situations, I would venture to agree that this would be a threat target based on the situation. And this is where things can get a little bit gray, and whether or not you add scenario information, off-duty cops, covert, anything of that status, or law-abiding citizen trying to stop active shooter from a child's school, something of that nature. It can get really muddy and really murky really quickly. Typically in training, what we don't see is that level of information being provided, but if you were to, or you're at that level where you're able to process that information, this would be a great spot for the CLOS. And I'll show you how that looks here in a minute after we go through some other targets. So if we pull up another one, the question would be threat or no threat. And it's a little less clear as to whether or not this would be a shoot target or not. And we'll get into showing you some ways that the CLOS can identify that. All right, for the third target, threat or no threat. Little less gray, you could justify the shot, but is it the right one? And that's where the CLOS can separate and differentiate between them. The idea is to turn these ambiguous targets into clear, defined threats based on what information you are receiving and how you process that information. Now, when you integrate the CLOS, however this is shown, whether it's at the door, threshold, or anything along the lines of moving through a repetition, what you present is always going to be a color and a number or a letter. Depending on which CLOS series you have, there's different varieties. We have series that are all letters, we have series that are all numbers, and then we have our new series, which is both. So you have a split of both letter and number on the same CLOS, providing a variety. That way you don't get complacent. So I'm going to go ahead, I'll set this up. We're going to just go ahead and expose just the one. So if you have seen this CLOS throughout the repetition, and you came across this target, based on the CLOS being a threat, this target would be a no-shoot or non-threat target. And the reason why we would set this up, we're going through, we're issuing commands, we're talking to people, and paper doesn't move when we give it commands. But the point of this is if you're giving proper commands, this person would have complied, they would have dropped the gun, at which point you can then secure this target and move on. Similar to this, if this gentleman was walking away, you saw the gun, issued commands based on what you're seeing as a threat off of the CLOS, we would not take shots on this target, we would issue those commands, and in the interpretation is that he dropped the gun, we would then be able to secure this target and move on. And for our third one, we came across this target, we're correlating the 3 to the 3 on the CLOS, meaning this is a threat target. We would take shots, and as you can remember, if you can remember, blue is shots to the body. We would take accurate, well-aimed shots to the body on this one, eliminating our threat through this scenario. All right, let's talk about our visual indicator cards, or VICs for short. Just a quick summary of what they are. They're a 5-inch by 5-inch heavyweight cardstock, 18 point is what we went with, allowing for durability and flexibility throughout this. We did shoot test several different types. These will take simunition rounds, and not fall apart. We did try some vinyls. But with these, you have two sides. You have a black background with a white lettering and a white background with black lettering in order to be designed to stand out against any kind of backdrop that you have, with the possibility in the future of us using different colors to allow for different variety and variability. But we have those in both letter series and number series, and we will expand on that later with images when we upgrade to our next series of the CLOS, so that we can add more variety to your training. Have a great day.